Hey, everybody, just a quick interruption here. Gary and I got talking so much about Faster Pussycat that we thought that there was enough of their saga to split this into 2 episodes. This episode is part 1 of the Faster Pussycat story. Our follow-up episode will be the continuation and conclusion of the Faster Pussycat story. Here we go.
Music from the wrong side of the tracks. This is a show that drags you through the gritty alleys of sleaze rock, gutter glam, and all forms of dirty rock and roll. We're here to crank up the volume and dive deep into the dirtiest, sleaziest, most glamorous rock and roll out there. Whether it's the classics or the underground hits, we've got you covered. And now, here are your hosts, Andy and Gary.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rock and Roll Gutter Podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Gary.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Andy. Who we tackling today?
Today, we're going to discuss a band that brought equal parts grit, glam, and unforgettable hook to the 80s LA rock scene. They were loud, they were edgy, and they had a sound that stood out in a sea of hair bands. I'm talking about, of course, Wham! Featuring George Michael.
I couldn't wait.
Actually, it'll be about Faster Pussycat.
Yay!
And we're going to talk about their history, the high notes, the low notes, and then the music that's kind of kept them in everybody's heart all these years. Back in 1985, at the height of the glam metal explosion in Hollywood, Sunset Strip was alive with rock and roll dreams and dangerous levels of Aquanet hairspray polluting the atmosphere. And it was in this mix of glitz and glamour and mayhem that Faster Pussycat is born. Tame Me Down, the band's charismatic frontman, well, he moved from soggy Seattle to the bright lights of Hollywood with dreams of starting a band, and he quickly joins forces with guitarist Greg Steele, Brent Muscat, drummer Mark Michaels, and bassist Kelly Nichols.
Okay, it took me a long time. How do you even say the name? Is it Tammy, Timey? I mean, it would be a perfect pun if it was Tie Me Down.
Yeah, Tie Me Down would make sense.
Or just 2 words, Tame Me. It's still another pun, but you know, it's like Janie Lane of Warrant. I mean, Jani. How do you pronounce this? Is it Janie? Is it Janny? Is it Yanni? What the hell's going on?
Yanni with his magical flute.
Yeah, I guess the story is that guitarist Greg Steele, he's shopping at LA's trendy rock clothing store Retail Slut, where it just so happens that Tammy Down was a store employee. Tammy also had another gig at the Troubadour nightclub, Running Lights, but that's where Greg and Tammy meet at Retail Slut. And legend and rumors also have it that while Tammy was an employee there, he sold Slash from Guns N' Roses his first top hat, although Slash maintains that he stole it. And Tammy says that, well, he's cool with that. When asked if Slash ever returned the favor, Tammy said, well, Guns took them to Europe on tour, so yeah.
Yeah, I would say that paid him back enough. So the band takes their name from the 1965 Russ Meyer's sexploitation film, Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill. You know Russ Myers, creator of the low-budget sexploitation flicks like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls and Mudhoney. And Myers' films are always cast with women with large breasts, very large breasts. And with a sound that was a melting pot of gritty punk rock and glam rock, plus a healthy dose of attitude and sleaze. And it didn't take long before Faster Pussycat found themselves playing the legendary sleaze rock meccas of the day, like Whiskey A Go-Go, The Rainbow, and The Troubadour. And the band actually was popular enough in 1986 that they had both Poison and the Hanoi Rock spinoff, The Cherry Bombs, open shows for them.
We saw the Cherry Bombs, Andy.
We did.
We saw them.
But they didn't open for anybody. They opened for themselves.
Andy McCoy.
The band also opened mini shows for the Kings of the Sunset Strip, Guns N' Roses. In fact, I blew a chance to see Faster Pussycat open a club show for Guns N' Roses.
Really?
I spent a week out in LA with our mutual friend and your former bandmate, Anthony.
Yeah.
Supposed to be flying back home on Sunday, but Anthony was trying to convince me to stick around for the show that was going to happen Sunday night. He was like, it's these two bands that are just about to hit the big time that you've got to stay and watch this show. This is going to be like history. And being young and dumb and worried about what might happen at work, I stuck to my schedule and flew on home. So who were these two bands that were about to break through? It was fucking Guns N' Roses and Faster Pussycat. Talk about your missed opportunities.
I guess. Right?
I've never stopped beating myself up over making that decision. I mean, that's like history right there.
All these years later.
Yeah. Young and dumb.
Still beating yourself up.
During the Sunset Strip's record label Feeding Frenzy in 1987, Faster Pussycat were signed to Elektra Records.
Andy, did you know that they got signed to Elektra before they even had enough songs for an album?
I did not.
Yeah, apparently they were going to include a cover song on the album that was originally done by the Dutch rock group The Shocking Blue, who had a #1 hit in the summer of 1969 with the song titled Venus.
Mm-hmm.
But before Faster could release their version, the all-girl group Bananarama, do you remember them?
Oh, yeah. Cruel Summer.
Darlings of the MTV era.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bananarama released their version of the song Venus in 1986, and they took it to #1.
Wow.
Again, in 6 countries, but that left Faster Pussycat one song short for the album, and that left them scrambling in the studio to write an additional song, which turned out to be Don't Change That Song, and that song, ironically, became the lead-off track to the whole album, and you realize that album is only 36 minutes long?
Yeah, it's a pretty quick listen. Faster Pussycat recorded and mixed that album in only 3 weeks.
3 weeks. You know what the original story was?
I do not.
They had secured producer Rick Brody, who had just come off a success helming Poison's first album, Look What the Cat Dragged In. And apparently, having secured the producer, the label heads were going to see the band Faster Pussycat at a showcase, ironically, in Phoenix, Arizona, where Andy and I live. Well, Andy lives in an offshoot of Phoenix, but let's just say for the story, Phoenix. And apparently, Faster Pussycat had one of the worst performances of their career, according to their manager. Apparently, it was an off night. The band was all fucked up. The room was half full, and the label heads were watching this train wreck, and the manager of the band is trying to explain that they're really a good band. They're just having a really off night.
Bad timing.
Well, because of that really poor performance, apparently the label said, well, we're not going to fork over a bunch of money for this shit show. And apparently the budget went from $100,000, and that budget was slashed dramatically. And producer Rick Brody convinced the label heads that he could deliver the album to them for $35,000. Apparently he came close to delivering Poison's album for $27,000 to $30,000. And so he guaranteed the label. And so the label head said, okay, you know what we're going to do? We were going to give you this huge chunk of money, but because of what we've just seen or whatever, we're going to I tell you what, we'll give you $50,000. If you can deliver this album for $35,000, then anything above that is yours to keep.
Challenge.
So a challenge accepted. So Rick Brody turns the album in at budget of $35,000. And that's probably why there was such a short timetable in getting the album recording. Studio time costs money, and, let's deliver this album. So even so, the production isn't that bad, and it's a definite snapshot of the Sunset Strip era in that time frame, 87 to 89, 87 to 90, maybe 91 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sound is a fairly accurate portrayal or whatever. So, 3 weeks to record that album.
Yeah, it's pretty raw, so it's probably a good representation of how they sounded live back in the day. Self-titled album was released on July 7th, 1987, and based on the singles Don't Change That Song, Cat House, and Bathroom Wall, this album made it up to number 97 in the Billboard Top 200 album chart.
In the top 100 for a fledgling young band on their first release. Not too shabby.
Yeah, not too bad. Not big numbers, but, respectable. This album was released only 2 weeks before Appetite for Destruction was released. And I'm not sure which one sold better. You might, do you know, Gary, which album? Was it Guns N' Roses or was it Faster Pussycat that really sold the most?
Jeez, I guess, can you say cajillion? How many zeros is in a cajillion, Andy? Because I would imagine Appetite moved a cajillion plus.
Yeah, that's one of the most successful debut albums of all time.
And I'm about to make a very controversial and maybe a somewhat blasphemy type of comment, but...
Strap in, everybody.
I prefer Faster Pussycat to Guns N' Roses. I mean, everybody had, and you and I are no exception. We were on board really early with Guns N' Roses, as I think we had cassette copies of the EP Like a Fucking Suicide on the Uzi Suicide label.
Yes.
So we were on board even before Appetite came out, but we both played the shit out of Appetite over and over again. But for me, I've always enjoyed Faster more from almost every vantage point. It's just a personal preference for me. But
I felt a soft spot more for a Faster Pussycat than for Guns N' Roses. Not disparaging Guns N' Roses at all, but there's just something I connected a little bit more with Faster Pussycat. I think they're a little more fun. They're not as not a serious band necessarily.
Well, I think they were just a tad more trashy than Guns was. Guns was like a hard rock. You're not gonna, some people put them in the metal category, which is ridiculous or whatever, but definitely harder rock, where Faster fit more of the trashy persona, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And the video for the song, Don't Change That Song, ended up being directed by Russ Myers, who directed the movie that the band took their name from. And that video features the band performing in front of a crowd of women with, wait for it, large breasts.
No.
I know, shocking. This is, because it's a Russ Myers production and you got to have big breasts in there.
Well, I mean, the pioneer of the larger memories, bosoms, headlights,
tatas.
If you didn't have them, you weren't going to make it into the movie.
Definitely not.
Casting director had a pretty easy job. Nope. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Oh, triple D's, triple X.
Kitten Habitat. What?
What was the other one's name? Satana?
Tura Sultana, who was one of the 3 large-breasted women in the actual movie Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, where the plot of the whole movie is not only do we have large breasts, but we're going to kick every male person's ass that we see in this film and have fun doing it,
What a way to go.
So that was Tura Sultana, I believe. I thought she was still alive. Maybe she just passed away recently, but she had hung in there and would do all the conventions and stuff, signing autographs and things like that.
And from the self-titled debut album, here's a bit of Faster Pussycat playing the song Don't Change That Song. And it features the gritty sound and sexually charged lyrics that this band would become known for.
Hey, again, let's not forget that this song was written at the last second because they didn't have enough songs to make the album. So not only was it the lead-off track, it's now the first video for the launches of the band career on MTV. Don't change that song. Here we go.
Turn on my stereo.
You remember when we lived at the Highland House, Gary?
Yeah, I do.
And there was that bar right up the street on the corner of 7th Ave and Camelback. It was called the Metro.
The Metro. Remember it well.
Well, Faster Pussycat was scheduled to play there. And this time, I vowed I was not going to miss out.
Yeah, you say.
Yeah. So they were either signed at this point or they were like right on the verge of signing up with Epic Records. With Elektra Records.
Get your story straight.
So that evening, I make my way to the club and pay my money at the front door there. And I was a little surprised to see the price was different than what it had been on the flyer advertising the show. So, like, lucky break for me, right? I'm going to get one more beer out of the night.
Less money to get in?
So once I get inside, meeting up with people I know, started hearing rumors that Faster Pussycat's not going to be playing because there was some sort of accident. But I also noticed off to the side, there's Tammy and Greg sitting down, sitting by themselves, hanging out. I'm like, well, they're here. So if they're here, surely they're actually going to play. This is just a bunch of bullshit that people are saying. So the band that was playing before them was a local band named Times Square, and they're playing their set. And close to the end, they call Greg and Tammy up on stage with them. So they go up on stage and Tammy starts apologizing for not being able to play the show. But it turns out that their bass player, Kelly Nichols, had just been involved in a very serious accident and was in the hospital.
Yeah, apparently the story goes that they were at a party and Tammy was on a bike and so was Kelly on a motorcycle on a bike, and that Kelly was crushed in an intersection, apparently to the point of compound fractures, bones protruding. Apparently the accident was so serious that at the hospital they were going to amputate his leg, and Tammy said, hey, wait a minute, we're not family. You're going to have to wait for a legitimate family member to arrive. You can't make these kind of decisions without a family member being here. So during the time that it took them to actually get a family member to the hospital, apparently the doctors found a way to save his leg, but it became that close to him losing his leg.
Yeah, way closer than you'd want it to be for sure. So Tammy and Greg end up playing a song with Times Square, and the song that they chose to play was Bathroom Wall. So I missed out on seeing Faster Pussycat again, but at least I saw that oddball show where they jammed with a local band, so that's kind of a little bit of offbeat history about them. And due to the accident, Kelly Nichols ends up being replaced by Eric Stacy, and that would be the final piece of the puzzle for what's many consider the classic lineup for Faster Pussycat. But Kelly Nichols did go on to join the band LA Guns, so things worked out pretty good for him after all, seeing as how LA Guns has sold like 3 times the amount of records that Faster Pussycat ever sold.
I guess it worked out in the long run from him, right? Did it?
Yeah, I would say so.
I saw the band Faster Pussycat 3 times. The first time I saw them was August 15th, 1987. Had to be the first tour because the first album was released in 87. So This was a large outdoor show at Compton Terrace in Phoenix, Arizona. Also on the bill were Y&T and Ace Frehley's Comet. Second time I saw Faster Pussycat, it might have been the same show that we saw on February 8th, 1990. At a place in Phoenix called Celebrity Theater. Mm-hmm. And the third time that I saw the band had to be in early 2006, maybe, at the Mason Jar dive bar. Andy and I have covered this legendary place in the Killer Dwarves episode, but they were playing there. An interesting little funny side note, way back in the day, when Faster first released the album in 87, there was such a thing called record stores, kids. Of course, records are back in vogue now or whatever, but back in the day, were actual stores that you would go to, and they would make displays of the latest albums that would drop. The record company would send them what were called slicks, which were basically 12-inch by 12-inch replicas of the album cover, and then it would send full-length posters of the band for whatever publicity shots that they chose for that album release or whatever. So here comes Faster Pussycat, and there's a wonderful local, legendary, independently owned record store in Phoenix and Tempe called Zia Records, Z-I-A. And at the time, one of the gangly employees working behind the counter at Zia was a young lad by the name of Robin Wilson. And some of you may recognize this name if you remember the band The Gin Blossoms, who were MTV darlings in the early 90s and had a #1 nationwide hit with the song Hey Jealousy. Well, Robin Wilson, way before that band was signed and was just a local kid working behind the record counter. And I was in a band. We shared a rehearsal space, a band I was in, and the band, the Gin Blossoms, again, way before they were famous. And so I went up to the register and I said, hey, Robin, when you're done with this, and this is the beautiful full-length posters of the album cover where the band's, everything's in dark blues, blacks, and purples, and they look like biker gypsies and everything. It's a great shot. I said, hey, Robin, when you guys are done with this display and you're moving on to something else, would you save me one of those full-length posters? And he said, yeah, sure. So one night at rehearsal, Robin shows up and he tosses this poster at me, and this is 1987. So flash forward to 2006, I'm standing outside this mason jar bar, and I had since had this poster laminated onto foam core. So now it's like a little mini billboard or whatever. And I thought to myself, what are the chances of actually getting this thing signed by some of the band members if I show up at the club a little early and try to wrangle myself by the tour bus at the back of the club or whatever? You know, stranger things have happened. So that's what I did. And weirdly, when I get to the club, there's Tammy outside. And of course, he's in his industrial phase now, where he's got the German cap and his hair is all black and he's wearing black fingernail polish and black lipstick. And he's turned Faster Pussycat basically into 9-inch pussy. But I digress. He and Brent Muscat are standing outside the club chatting up a couple of female fans. So I fished this mini billboard out of the back of my car and I come walking up to the club and I get about 10, 15 feet away and Tammy sees me coming with this thing and he says out loud, he goes, now that's what I'm talking about. And he taps Brent on the shoulder and Brent stops talking to the chicks and turns and looks at me. I had brought a purple Sharpie for the occasion, so they both signed it and were happy to chat with me for a few minutes. So long story short, a poster that I've been hanging on to since 1987 gets signed by two of the original members in 2006. It proudly hangs out in my rehearsal studio, garage, man cave / whatever you want to call it, serial killer, hostage, whatever it is back there. And hopefully I'll take a picture of it. Maybe Andy can throw it up on our Facebook page, Rock and Roll Gutter on Facebook, and you guys can have a look at it, you know. But there's my third and final time seeing Faster Pussycat. Now we return you to our regularly scheduled podcast.
And from the band's debut album, here is that song, Bathroom Wall, which leans heavily into the sleazy rock vibe that this band would become known for. In 1986, Tammy and his roommate, Ricky Rackman, who would later go on to fame as the host of MTV's Headbangers Ball, they founded what would become the place to be on Tuesday nights in L.A., the world-famous Cat House. And Ricky and Tammy converted a Los Angeles area disco into a once-a-week rock and roll dance club, and it quickly became a cultural hotspot for all the music and fashion hipsters around L.A. The original inspiration for starting the club was literally so Ricky and Tammy could hang out with friends, get free drinks, and hopefully meet some strippers.
Some strippers. Yeah, apparently the story was that this was a dance club. Way before they actually had live acts there, Ricky would spin music and that they liked, and it just caught on and became a real thing real quick. Lines would form up, but and this leads to a little bit of a debate, a long-held debate. I think I cleared it up, but let me just run it by you guys. In the song Babylon, in the beginning, that scratchy, and Brent Muscat's voice being duped, pussy. There was rumors that Ricky Rackman did that because he was a DJ at the time, and he was responsible for that, and so he makes an appearance on the record. But during a different interview that I was researching, producer Rick Brody said that he was responsible for doing that they took Brent's voice and they ran it through a sequencer and a sampler, and that he was responsible for doing that opening. So a little bit of a debate there, but I'm going to have to go with the guy that actually made the record, Andy.
That's a controversial stance, Gary.
Well, I'm telling you, you do what you got to do. Hey, remember back in the day, the Cat House was famous and deservedly so world famous. They had the title on there. But when you're two poor and strapping lads from Phoenix making that 357-mile journey to get out to Ricky Rackman's Cat House on a working night in, Los Angeles in a seedy part, way before there's GPS, way before there's, cell phones or whatever.
Yeah, and hopefully you can get in.
Yeah, well, exactly. So the best you could hope to do was get your hands on an authentic Ricky Rackman Cat House t-shirt.
Trademark.
Remember? They were black and they were fluorescent, hot pink writing. And if you had one of those and you combine that with a pair of lip service jeans, you're almost a shoo-in to get laid back in the day. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
And then you could always lie, oh, yeah, I've been to the Cat House many times.
Many times. Oh, yeah. Ricky's my friend.
The personal.
Pretty sure I still have my Cat House t-shirt packed away with some of my memorabilia from that era.
I'm telling you. Historical items, Andy. Smithsonian.
Worth a whole $3.
They'll come and knock you on your door. I think they're still selling them.
Yeah, they are.
I think you can
go to their website
online,
Yeah, you can.
I wonder over the years how much, not necessarily lucrative income, but I mean, you roll out to the mailbox every year and, oh, hey, here's a couple of hundy.
Yeah, well, Ricky Rackman looks like he's still living a decent life, so maybe it is somewhat lucrative.
Yeah, how many of these are oldsters, though, that are trying to remember better days?
Probably 95%, I would guess.
My breasts are down to my belly button.
But that's why you need a Cat House t-shirt. Hold them babies in place. Don't make me call Russ Myers over here. Everybody who was anybody wanted in at the Cat House. And, you had your rock scene heavy hitters like Motley Crue, Motorhead, Alice Cooper, Aerosmith. Just, any of these bands, when they weren't out on the road, they all wanted to hang out there. Guns N' Roses, they played so much there, they became a regular fixture at the club. And there's even an infamous story of Axl Rose chasing David Bowie down the street, threatening to beat his ass because he was hitting on Axl's then girlfriend, Erin Everly.
I'm going to kick your ass. Never caught David because David, well, as he's known, is the Artful Dodger. So, that never.
Apparently they never connected and had fisticuffs. Celebrities and rock stars were mingling there with the unwashed masses just to make sure that everyone's privacy was covered, was protected. And I'm going to assume in large part to hide the hedonistic nature of this club. There were no cameras allowed inside.
Yeah, that and Epstein's Island.
Right. They're probably somewhere in that little black book.
Rodney Bingham-Heimer's legendary English disco club. Hey, you under that table.
But even up-and-coming bands like the Black Crowes, Stone Temple Pilots, White Zombie, Alice in Chains, and even early Pearl Jam played shows there. So it's kind of funny how this club that started out to help Ricky and Tammy get laid actually turns into this cultural phenomenon.
And cash cow.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tammy might have made more money from that club than he ever did with Faster Pussycat. From their first album, titled Faster Pussycat, here's a bit of that song, Cat House, which showcases the band's raw, chaotic, but super energetic sound.
Again, let me go out on a little bit of a limb here, but I'm going to tell you right now, I think I prefer Tammy's vocal shrieks, screams, whatever you want to call them, vocal
snarls.
Exactly. I think they're better than Axl Rose's. I think
Really?
they're better than Steven Tyler's. I mean, if you picked Cat House or that song, Bottle in Front of Me, listen to him wail on those. Mm-hmm. And I think he kicks Axl's ass. Of course, this isn't to be confused with Cookie Monster vocals with guys that are just angry with their dads.
What do you mean, Gary?
But I digress. Semantics. Also, this song, Cat House, is the best part of the Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 movie, I think. The club scenes and them playing this song, Cat House, I think that's great. And I don't know, nothing will get me moving faster and out of my chair faster than a song like this that's built like this. The tempo, the rollicking barroom piano, everything combined, nothing will move me faster than a song like this. I love this song.
Just got back from the best cat house in town. It had the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right about now. Just got back from the best cat house in town. And had the best piece of Mona Lisa I ever found. And I'm going back to the best cat house in town to get some more of that cheap little tramp right about now.
Don't forget to join us for part 2 of the Faster Pussycat saga here in the Rock and Roll Gutter. And to our fallen comrade, Mr. Mink, I think Pink Floyd said it best. Wish you were here. You're here in spirit, brother.
Godspeed, Mink, wherever you may be.
You've been listening to the Rock and Roll Gutter podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the dirty world of rock and roll. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us reach more listeners like you.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rock and Roll Gutter Podcast for all the latest updates, news, and more.
Got questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes? Reach out to us at rnrguttermail@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
So join us again next time for another wild ride through the raw and gritty side of rock and roll. So until then, keep it trashy.